1500s, okay? When I say European, I mean either Spanish, Dutch, English, okay, any one of those groups. And so today we're going to look at what North America was like prior to this time period. We're going to look at some of the different societies and the various cultures that existed in North and Central America prior to the arrival of the Europeans. All right, Mr. Johnson, that sounds great. Well, how did people get here originally? That is a great question. That is a great question. Well, young grasshopper, a long, long time ago, that's how my grandma used to say it, long time ago, baby. Let me tell you something. Way back about 10,000 years ago, we're going to have what is known as as Beringia, okay? It's a strip of land that existed between Asia and what is now Alaska. So you've got what would have been Russia or Siberia up over here and Alaska over here. Now, this is during the Ice Age, so there's going to be a lot of ice and even land mass that folks could go across. Was it cold? Yup. Was it hard? Yup. Why would they do that, Mr. Johnson? Well, most folks that are nomadic are doing that because they are hunting food, all right? If you are further out into the Russian area or China area and you are chasing big game, those woolly mammoths or these giant elk or whatever, you're going to go wherever they are so that you can feed your people, okay? And that's what folks do. And I'm not saying that a whole group of folks in one day decide to walk across this land bridge. No, all right? We're talking over hundreds and hundreds of years that folks are going to migrate, okay, from what is today parts of Russia and China and Central Europe over to what is now North and Central America, all right? Hunter-gatherers, nomads, we're going to get whatever wild plants we can get, whatever eggs we can get, whatever game that we can get, and we are going to follow wherever the giant herds are, all right? Now, as the climate starts to warm and that ice mass between again, modern-day Russia and Alaska starts to melt, okay? Temperature's warm, the ice starts to melt, the land sections that were actually there become flooded because there's more water on the land masses, all right, covering the planet, and folks aren't going to be able to make that migration back and forth. So if you're in North America, by the time this land bridge is gone, guess what? You're in North America. Ain't no going back, all right? And so now we've got that connection piece gone. Some of these big animals that existed during this time period, those woolly mammoths or these giant elky type animals, are no longer going to be around either, all right? So folks are going to have to kind of adapt to their new environments. And what we're going to start seeing happening is going to be something that is known as the agricultural revolution, okay? The agricultural revolution. And by this revolution, we are looking at a new way of doing something, all right? One of the things that comes up as a result of this agricultural revolution is that societies begin to form. No longer are societies dependent solely on hunting as a means of providing food, or hunting gathering as a means of providing food. Will there continue to be hunters and gatherers? Yes, there will be, okay? But now we don't have to necessarily travel as much, or maybe just a small group of individuals can go out and hunt while we start to cultivate crops. So as a result of this, we are going to see larger population areas grow, all right, settlements grow, and as more settlements grow, okay, as these settlements grow, we start to develop more complex societies. We don't have to run around as much, so now we can have, some sort of, form of government. We can have regular seasonal crops that we do. It really makes society or folks start to develop into what becomes societies. When you guys access the slides on your own, there's a hyperlink there about the agricultural revolution. You can go ahead and watch it. The video is about 3 minutes long. If you can watch the first 2 minutes of it, you'll get pretty much everything you need. If you decide that you don't want to watch it, guess what? Bang. We've got this right here, the impacts of the agricultural revolution, all right? So some of the impacts that we get from the agricultural revolution, as addressed in that video, we get population growth, we get society advancement, we get cultural and arts. They didn't talk about it so much in that video. We get governments established, and one thing I don't have that they talked about in that video is the establishment of warfare. People got something to lose, okay? They're going to fight to protect it. I don't have what they, ooh, look, they got a lot of crops over there. I want some of them crops. I'm going to go and try and take it, okay? Has there always been fighting? Yeah, but now it starts to change the face. The face of fighting starts to change a little bit. All right. So some of our first societies in South America, actually, I'm All right, back into it. South American societies, South American societies. One of the first ones that we talk about and hear about are the Olmec Society. Okay, the Olmec or the Olmec people in Central America, southern part of southern part of New Mexico. All right, and this is going to be one of the first great societies in that area. And they're going to be one of the first societies with a writing system in the American North and South America region. Okay, they're going to practice what is known as slash and burn agriculture. And that's basically where you see a plot of land, you want to plant some crops there, okay, but there's already some vegetation there. You burn it down, all right, and what's left over afterwards, that ash, okay, has nutrients in it. You till that into the ground. You then plant your seeds, and you've got a rich soil where your crops can grow. Okay, so they're going to utilize a slash and burn. The bad thing about slash and burn, it's not sustainable. That means after a while, you slashed and burned pretty much every place that you can slash and burn, and your society is going to die out, which is what happened to the Olmec. Is it because of slash and burn? Who knows? Okay, who knows? Another, chemicals. All right, another society that arose after the Olmec, okay, is going to be the Mayan society. With historic or religious mounds associated with them. They also created the concept of zero. All right, there's all kinds of arguments about who created the concept of zero, whether it's the Greeks, okay, or whether it was the Mayans. So we can just say that maybe they both did separately, okay? But the concept of zero, and there will still be folks of the Mayan civilization that are around today. Somebody can claim to be Olmec, but we really can't say so, okay? With the Mayans, you can definitely have a hard lineage. And that also goes with the Toltecs. They, as the Mayan society declined, the Toltecs are going to rise, okay? They are going to be a dominant force in the Central America, and these folks were warriors. We want what you've got. Artisans and builders, so they're going to start building temples as well. They're going to start building mounds as well, okay? And have massive cities. And all these societies that we're going to talk about are going to die out for one reason or another, okay? All societies eventually will fall, even our current society, hopefully after we are long gone and buried. And that's what happened with the Toltec. Combination of disease, combination of bad harvest, combination of over-hunting and overdeveloping an area, okay? Going back to the oops, wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. Going back to the Olmec, okay, slash and burn works fantastically for a while, and then you realize you've burned up everything around you, all the other resources that go with it. So that's what we're going to see with that. Last society that we kind of talk about is the Aztec Society, and I'm sure everybody has heard of the Aztec Society, all right? Again, another super advanced society. And these things are all developing, again, in the Central America, okay, along the southern part of Mexico, in the Yucatan Peninsula area. That's where all these societies are going to kind of pop up. As one falls, another emerges, all right? And the Aztec is probably going to be some of the most advanced civilizations of this time period. Not only are they going to have these large temples that they're going to build, okay, they're going to have canal irrigation systems, all right? They're going to conquer more territory, okay, than any other society before them, okay? Now, one of the things that folks tend to think about when they think of, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but one of the things that that comes to mind when you read about the Aztec civilization is the idea of human sacrifices. They were very, very superstitious, or religious, we should call it actually, and part of their religion revolved around the concept of human sacrifice to please the gods. The gods aren't happy, we need to sacrifice somebody. FYI, the Vikings, okay, so the Norse people in in Europe, Northern Europe, did the same thing. So it's not just a them kind of a thing. One of the societies that wasn't based in Central America are the Incas, okay? And these folks are going to kind of settle in the western part of South America, all along the Andes Mountains. And there are still descendants of the Incas living in that area, in the area of Peru and Uruguay, Paraguay, those areas on the western part of South America. And they were known for bridges and being able to survive at those high altitudes. All right. Moving into North America, okay, we're going to have some of the we are going to have some of the societies that are going to settle in the southwestern part of the country or of the continent, in areas that are now the states of New Mexico, okay, and Arizona. We're going to see the Hokum people as well as the Anazi people. Okay, these folks are going to be able to build these kind of structures in desert and rocks and cliffs. All right, throughout the south and southwestern part of North America. They build these structures for protection. Okay, and they would use what water came through on what is now the Rio Grande and Colorado rivers to irrigate their crops. Now, unfortunately, over time, these cliff dwellings aren't going to be able to protect them, and these folks will die off. All right. Another group that are going to kind of populate the North American area are groups known as mound builders. There are multiple tribes mound builders. Okay, it's not just one group of mound builders, but they're all descendant from the original migrants coming across the Beringia. All right. Now, the interesting thing about these mounds, they still exist in North America, and I don't think I have any pictures of them, unfortunately, but these folks who were here, European settlers who came here, would see these mounds and kind of dismiss them. Oh, that's just a dirt mound. That's just a dirt mound. Ain't no big deal. We don't know how it got here. But inside of them were actually burial plots with all sorts of tools and pottery and trinkets and whatnot. And folks just had a hard time believing, European settlers had a hard time believing that the natives, who they felt were primitive and backwards, had the ability to build such massive structures. And so that's just a kind of another side thing from there. But yep, the central part of the United States, as well as along the Mississippi Valley, all right, we're going to have another group of mound builders down there that are going to build pyramids just like they did in Central and South America, all right? And they're going to introduce into North America, prior to European arrival, certain farming tools such as agricultural hoes and digging sticks, things along those lines. All right. I'm going to take a quick second break to check in. All right. I think I'm just going to really summarize for you. Okay. Just so that you have a chance to kind of get into some stuff and figure things out a little bit here. And so I'm not prattling along too much. There are different tribes, different groups of cultures throughout North America, just like in South America and Central America, all right? And their existence is going to be based off of their environment. So in the northwestern part of the country, that's a lot of tall trees, that's a lot of rain, okay? They're going to adjust their society based off of that, all right? Same with the Southwest. We saw the cliff-dwelling people, okay? They're going to base their society based off what resources they have. Same with the groups that are in the Plateau or the Great Basin, okay, the Great Plains. All of these tribes are going to address their way of hunting, living, societal development based off of their environment. Just like if you have somebody who moves to New York, they're going to live life fairly different, okay, than a person living in Winston-Salem, who will live fairly different than a person living in Low Gap, North Carolina. And I can say that because I lived in Low Gap, North Carolina for a while. Side note, look on a map, find out where Low Gap, North Carolina is, and then go, how the heck did you get there, Mr. Johnson? Long story. I'll tell you later on. All right, what else? Same with the eastern part of the country, all right? Again, folks are going to adapt to their environment, and their cultures and civilizations and societies will adapt based off of that. The far north, the poor Inuits, they had to hunt the seals. All right. But some common things that are true for all of the North American tribes, okay, and societies are the things that we're going to talk about right now. Their customs, all right? So family relations are going to be very strong in these groups, all right? You all work together for the benefit of the family and the benefit of the society. Kinship is determined through marriage, all right? And some societies are matriarchal societies where women had a greater say in how things went. Some societies were female dominated. Okay, so those are just some things to think about. We talked about it right here. Some societies are going to have strict social order, meaning that if you are a hunter, you're pretty much a hunter and you're of the hunting class. If you're a farmer, you're of the farming class, all right? And some folks may have perks based off of that. Not all societies are going to be this way, but some will, all right? So and then some societies are also going to be a lot more democratic in how they approach and do stuff. Land use. North American tribes are going to not view land as a personal ownership, okay? Ooh, I got these 5 acres. These are my 5 acres, okay? But they will view it as a resource for the community, all right? I don't own this Great Plain area, but our community utilizes it. And if somebody wants to utilize it also, maybe we'll let them come in and utilize it. Maybe we won't let them utilize it. Maybe we'll keep an eye on them to see what happens. And if we don't like it, we'll say something or do something about it, and maybe we won't. Now, this is going to pose a really big challenge for a lot of the native tribes when Europeans come, because their perception on land is going to be different, all right? Europeans are going to see the land and they're going to be like, it's mine, I'm here, ain't no one taking me from it, all right? Whereas the North Americans are going to say, the natives are going to say, yeah, it's the land, it's our land, yeah, we can all use the land. Big conflict down the line. That's going to cause all sorts of problems all the way up throughout the 1800s. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. What else do we have? I should put this in present mode, shouldn't I? What else do we have? Again, division of labor. Okay, we talked about society structure. It's same thing happens with labor. Typically, we're going to have women that are farming and doing the agricultural stuff while men are doing the hunting thing, all right? It just happens to work this way. It's not saying one job is more important than the other job, because you're going to have men doing some of the agricultural stuff as well. Just depends on where the needs are and where the bodies are. All right. What else? Religious beliefs. One of the cool thing about all societies is most every society has what is known as an origin myth or an origin story. All right. Christians, you get the Big Bang and Adam and Eve. Muslims will have a different thing, and the same with the various North American tribes, that they're going to have a belief, you know, that there's a sky god and a land god and gave all this to the people. Boo. So they all had that kind of a thing in common. Trade amongst the tribes, okay, straightforward. You've got something that I don't have, all right, but I've got something that you don't have, and if we can come together and agree on something, guess what? We're going to make a deal. All right, so now you've got all that. You've got all that fish. Woo-wee, I got all this corn. You want to trade? Sure, let's go for it. And that's how it's going to work. And you'll actually have large trading networks between various tribes. Again, based off of needs and resources. Oh, guess what? I think we're done. Yes. Wow. One last think about it question. How could Native Americans' view of land ownership work in favor of the Europeans when they established colonies in the Americas? Again, Native Americans are thinking that, yay, it's our land. We all have, you need to use some land. Sure, that's okay. But, you know, I'll come over there and use some of that land also. Europeans are thinking, got me some land. Don't come on it. Don't put me up a fence. And that's going to be the end of it. All right. So